7:38. Everyone's had the revised copy with the changes that we made at the last meeting. There's, in reading through this, there's just a couple minor things that I think we should discuss, and hopefully everybody agrees we should put in. It's only three things. I don't think it's anything that I think we can still vote on this without a problem. I guess the first thing is on page 98. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong about that. Page 45. Sorry about that. Page 98 is something else. Actually, Ellen Scalatar is the one that picked up on this. It's not what we all wanted. And it's, I don't actually know where it came from, but it's just a confusion. And it put on the village residential. I mean, the village residential, the idea behind the village residential is that those zones stay exactly the way they are, except when something is built there beyond, other than a single-family home, the village district regulations can kick in. And the village district regulations are pretty lukewarm. They're kind of making things look nice, and it's for the character for down there. So that's the reason for that. So the zone itself, the zones, nothing changes in the zones. And what we had in here, it actually talked about it was being changed. It talked about the VR zone emphasizes small lot residences using the existing standards of residential D. That's not what we want to do. Residential D is residential D, BB is BB, C is C, and they all stay exactly the same, other than they're now part of the village district. And this actually all happened, this came about because of the time we stood here in that neighborhood. They came in here with 3 two-family houses, and we had no controls over it. And the neighborhood was a little upset. They also knew our hands were tied, but this would be able to control that. If somebody comes in here with that, we get to make it look like we want it to look.
What exactly is the language change, Jeff, there?
Well, we take out this achieves the goals. The VR zone emphasizes small lot residences using the existing standards of residential D as a starting point. That's out completely. And we also talked about, on the other one, it was stated, the intent of the VR zone is to provide development regulations consistent with existing 1 and 2 family residences used in key areas of the village district, while allowing a modest increase in residential density in forms other than apartments over commercial uses. That's not actually what is supposed to happen in the village residential. That language is really what's supposed to be, for the most part, in the village mixed use area. So the new language is the new village residential zone should be sited on the eastern route of blah 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 area and residential adjacent to the Landon and Metler streets, combining portions of existing residential B, B, C, and D zones into a unified residential zone, consistent with the goals of the 2005 Woodbridge Plan of Conservation and Development. The intent of the VR zone is to provide development regulations consistent with the existing 1 and 2 family residential uses in the village districts. That is already in the zoning regs. That's not a change. There's no zoning change. And there seems to be some confusion about that. So it's, the other was putting all sorts of rules on those zones. Now, there aren't supposed to be rules on the zones. That's, okay. And then the next thing is, we had although we do address this in Chapter 5, we talk about the farmland preservation. It's not as I don't think it's, okay, I'll back up. I think that the amendment that we wrote for farmland preservation program, that was the amendment for the last POCD, we should actually just put that in this POCD.
Say that again?
We did an amendment for
In
the.
November or something,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it's pretty clear, I think we should actually just take the whole thing and put it in the chapter.
Oh, because we already did it.
We already did it.
Did it.
It was in the 05,
F5.
so I think we should put it in here, but it's recent.
Is it one
and
page, Jeff?
It's not even.
Oh, do you want to just read it out?
I can do that. Good thing I brought my glasses. It is hereby declared, one, that it is in the public interest to encourage the preservation of farmland, forest land, open space, and maintain heritage land in order to maintain a readily available source of food products close to metropolitan areas of the state, to conserve the state's natural resources, and to provide for the welfare and happiness of the inhabitants of the state. And it says, accordingly, the town hereby encourages the protection of farmland and local agriculture. And we do actually state that. But I think this is a good paragraph that we should put in there. It just kind of emphasizes where our stand is.
So where would it go in the open space?
It actually goes in natural resources, our
What page is that?
farmland discussion.
Starts at 7.
I'm just gonna tell you,
86,
there you go.
and create a new, would precede the action agenda on 87. We'd probably create a 7 and.
That's why Phil said-
Farmland preservation, put that language in, and then it would flow into the action agenda.
So this is just an addition, there's no deletions.
No, and it's really just strengthening our stand on the importance of farming. And since we had all just done this, I figured, why not? Does that all make sense? And then the only other thing is on page, now we're on page 98. Eventually we'll get there. Where this is the framework for open space acquisitions and classifications. One of the there's, I think, 8 bullets here. I'd like to add a 9th bullet that talks about that the greenway, that the town greenway passes through the land. In other words, so this is how to.
We actually had something like that in an earlier draft, didn't we?
I thought we did, and then I couldn't
Yeah.
find it again. So, but it seems like it should be on this list.
This is
So-
on page what?
98.
Could you read the exact language that you have there?
Well, actually, it just says the town greenway passes through the land.
I don't have it on my page now.
It's a
Yeah,
criteria.
and neither do I.
Right, right.
Right.
Yeah.
As help, as a yeah.
What do you have on page 9?
Another list.
Page 98.
Yeah, it's a different, we're both on iPads and it's coming up differently.
Maybe you have the wrong. Maybe you're in the draft.
Well, they're all drafts.
Yeah, but the last draft. Maybe you're in the draft before.
I'm on the draft that was on the Malone McBroom website.
The
that
most
was shared
recent-
in late February.
Oh, so that's. Is that the updated one after our last meeting?
Should be.
Yeah, it's supposed
Yeah,
to
it
be.
should be.
It was one that Tim sent the
Okay.
link and stuff.
Okay, well then I'll blame your iPad too.
I don't know. I
I was
still
trying
can't
to help
find
you
that
out there. I
list.
was trying to help out Apple, but clearly. Do you want me to just show you the page?
Yeah. Alan and I'll share.
Framework for open space.
So this is where we want to add the bullet on that list.
Oh, that is our 98, but it's not but all these are questions and you made it a statement, or is it a question?
It's a criteria.
Yeah, well, they're kind of criterias, but you can put a question mark at the end.
Can you?
Yeah. We just say, does the town greenway pass through?
Does the land pass through the town greenway?
Then it'll be consistent.
There you go.
Does the land pass through?
Okay.
Jeff, just one other thing that we talked about at our last meeting.
Yep, I know what you're going to say, and I'm glad you brought that up. What page
On
was that?
page 27.
Yeah. To be honest with you, it was so long ago, I kind of like thought it was done already. Let's see here.
It was the second bullet under consider usage of country club Woodbridge property.
Yeah, so what was the?
Consider open space uses.
Oh, uses instead of use.
Yeah,
I got it right.
because there may be more than one type of open space use.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Okay, so the only other thing that actually isn't going in here, but I wanted to bring it up, the idea of having, ideally, and we did talk to conservation about this, and mostly conservation, about having this list of properties that we're interested in possibly buying. And the list that the open space plan that we have doesn't have a list that's evidently updated. And conservation wanted to be able to actually study it and work on their open space plan. So that's the only thing that I think should be added in here, but it'll have to be amended because they don't really know how long it's going to take them to actually do that. So, but everybody's aware of it, and everybody was comfortable with where things stand from conservation, land trust, and COOPOP. But the list, I think, would be an important thing to put in here.
But that means if we're going to go through an amendment, you're gonna have to have public hearing again. Okay?
Well, we know how to do that.
And they have no idea when they're gonna be doing this? When it's gonna be completed?
Yeah, we're on television, so I want to be careful.
Okay.
I don't want to upset anybody. But they are working on it.
Okay.
So that's, I think, everything I had. I didn't get any more comments from the commission from our last meeting, so I'm assuming everyone's good otherwise.
The only comment I have received from anybody was on the in-law apartments. And that was, instead of making it a mandate, shall adopt, it's to make it consider adopting, as opposed to affirmative, because certain people are against the in-law apartments.
I don't think we said, there's a thing that says mandate?
Well, it says adopt.
We can't actually
No,
say
I
anything about
understand. It
mandate in
says-
here.
No, it says adopt is supposed to consider adoption.
Well,
That's the only,
Yeah, okay.
because certain people are against the concept of,
okay, so my response to that is, again, this is a POCD,
No,
this is just
I'm
a
just-
vision, and nothing can happen before it goes through public hearing. So, and I think that's.
I'm raising the
I
issue.
see.
Because there, as I said, certain people are against the concept
Of course.
of in-law apartments.
Of course, yeah, I'm sure.
I think we should bring Alan up to speed since he's going to be voting on this.
I am
The
going to be voting
changes.
the trust. Excuse me, I got a little tied up with some other things that just didn't end as quickly as we hoped.
Okay, so can we move quickly?
Yeah.
Well, we can move. if
You're
you
quick, you're quick.
bring
Okay,
up what you-
You
what
can
you
handle it. I think you can handle this. I have complete confidence in you. So, one of the things was to take the amended paragraph we put in the other POCD about farmland and actually put that in here as well. Okay, cool. And then the biggest thing actually is the thing that's in front of you. It was I was actually in here incorrectly, and some the first selectman actually picked up on it, but it's all this gobbledygook about new requirements for the village district residential area, but that's none of that we want. All those zones stay exactly the way they are, except the village district rules kick in when there's something being built there that's more than a single family, no different. And the regulations on the village district basically talk about sidewalks and
They do,
aesthetics.
yes.
And so it's not like this difficult thing, and it doesn't affect single-family homes. What was written in here talked about actually being able to change lot sizes in other zones.
We're not looking to do that. We didn't discuss that, nor did anybody bring it up at any of the charrettes.
And
Okay.
it's been caught and corrected. So that's what that's what that thing is in front of you.
So let me just read it, okay.
Okay. And then the only other thing is on page 98, we're going to add, as far as determining a criteria for looking at open space, to have a bullet added that consider whether the land passes through the town greenway. Question mark, something in a question mark, yeah. But that's what it is. So looking at land, but it's one of the considerations on buying a piece of
Sure,
land is
whether-
does the green land pass through it? Greenway. I said greenland, greenway.
Well, what you're doing is you're building in questions that would be related to issues of continuation of open space and whether it's desirable, and it has to do with purchase and sale at some level, I would assume.
Yeah, sale's not in here anymore.
Yes.
So purchase is in here.
Okay.
And yes, it's a list of things to consider as far as that criteria and whether it's a good piece of property. or
And
not.
is there any change with respect to any sale of municipal property?
No, that's not even in the POCD anymore.
So being the devil's advocate, let me ask the question. Okay, does that mean that if the town owns a piece of property
Yes.
that it would want to sell,
Yeah.
that we're recommending it not sell anything that it might determine would be surplus?
No, we're not saying that at all.
Okay.
I mean, anything that the town sells, they have to go for a vote.
But no, I understand that.
So
My
we're not
only question is-
recommending anything.
Okay, so you're leaving that as a tabula rasa, which the town can consider in its wisdom after a referendum that he would have to have.
Yeah, well, so, yes, and the reason it was in there, it actually, what I think was a good idea, it actually came from a recommendation from Coupop,
Yes.
that there were pieces of property, what'd you say? Yes? Oh.
I said yes, I remember I'm saying it, yes.
It came
But one
from-
of the action items says, adopt policy formalizing the acquisitions process to ensure purchases and sales
Yeah.
of property or easements are consistent with the
Which
open
page is
space
that? Because
plan.
I'm telling you, I think you're looking at the wrong thing. We took out
147.
Is that the revised plan?
Oh, no, those are the action.
These are the action items.
Items, and
I don't know, but does it make sense an action item refers to sale if we deleted references to that?
Let me just look at this first.
It's just above historic and community resources.
Yeah, we have different pages.
Okay.
I
Well,
have,
the
this is
action-
under the park, recreation, and open space. I mean, I feel you're looking at the.
It is the very last action item on this plan, and maybe it's been gotten rid of, and I don't indeed have an updated plan.
What does it say? It's above,
It says it's above the delineation, historic and community resources. It's the last
oh,
action.
it does actually say in sales, but we should take that out. So that's left over from when we took it out of the other. Well, adopting policy from an acquisition process to ensure purchases. Well,
just remove the cell.
well, I mean, this doesn't bother me as much. The other thing was, it came across like we were encouraging selling open space.
But all these action items here are simply a rewording of all the action items that appear in every single chapter of the
Right.
document. So we just need to make sure we're consistent.
Yeah, so let's just take that out. Ensure purchases and or easements are consistent. Is that okay? Is that cool?
Purchases of property or easements.
Ensure purchases and or easements.
Okay. Yeah.
So anyway, as you remember, the reason was to sell pieces that weren't part of the greenway, that were just kind of left out over there, sell it, but then the funding was gonna need, we were recommending that the funding go into open space fund, but to be honest with you, it got misunderstood, and it also got into the legalities, and I think it was just a recommendation, but regardless. So thanks for picking that up.
So we're gonna remove and sale, just acquisitions go.
I put a process to ensure purchases and or easements are consistent with the open space plan. I've taken out sales of property.
But it talks about the acquisitions process. Oh, purchase, got it. Duh.
Just for the sake of arguments, did you have the consultant here? Because, can I ask him a question?
Well, you may.
Yes. So in terms of other municipalities, other towns have dealt with, is this an unusual provision? Understanding the process typically in towns is for sale of property, you need to get referendum approval, okay? I just don't want us, as a visionary issue, to suggest we would never be in a position to sell municipally owned land. I'm not sure if it would be wise or not wise, because I don't know what that parcel would be. But I don't want to tether us in such a way where it would be inappropriate. My question for you is, what do you see in other plans?
Well, typically it does focus on acquisition. Usually the disposition of municipal real estate is an executive function of the town. Some of them develop criteria. Clearly towns obtain land that is of no particular value to the municipality over time for all kinds of reasons. And they become encumbrances and towns dispose of it.
So it's an executive decision, it's not necessarily a zoning or a planning consideration?
Whatever the disposition is going to be affected by the zone for that area, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But the process and the decision, usually it's referred to the planning commission for review, right?
Okay.
As it, that's a requirement of the statute.
So that
they're
power doesn't have to be-
looking to be informed from your advice, but typically we don't see a lot of that in the POCD.
Okay, that's fair. I just wasn't sure, and I know that we had it in there, so it makes me feel a little more comfortable. And that's
I just
a good
realized
question.
we're actually working on a project in another town, and they don't have to go for a vote to sell this piece of property. Evidently, they just have to go through their board of selectmen.
Well, it depends upon.
That's not unusual.
It
There
depends
are
upon the
municipalities who have that power. Yeah, but we don't as a town.
Is
So that's
it-
good.
In Woodbridge, is it regardless of the size?
Yeah, it's any town
Any
parcel.
regardless of size
Correct.
or amount involved?
That's my understanding.
I just don't know.
Yeah, that's my
Okay.
understanding.
Well, that settles it anyway, so.
No, and I was looking at that as a process issue, which I
Sure.
understood, but I was just wondering, I didn't want to exclude us, because I think there will be times when the town might want to go and dispose of a parcel for whatever reason.
Well,
So I
it'd
just
be a
didn't want to say, hey, it's
non-contested.
not consistent with your POCD, but when you don't mention it at all, it doesn't mean it's inconsistent
No,
either, so
exactly.
leaving it alone makes sense.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Okay, I'm good with that.
Or the amount of money.
Oh, you're right. Okay, cool. Anything else? So is there a motion to accept the,
With the, and tell them about the
The amendment.
amendment, that we're gonna have to amend it later on with the
oh, right.
attachment.
So one of the things that's not in here, which we actually would like in here, but it's not ready yet, and won't be ready for a while through conservation, is the list of pieces of property that we.
So that'll be an appendix of some sort to what we've already
Exactly.
talked about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair enough, because I think it's just a referral issue.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
understand
no,
why we're doing it. Okay.
Change on page 27.
I think he was sitting here for a while.
Used to uses.
Used to uses.
No, he wasn't. Was he?
I wasn't here. What are you talking about, buddy?
Page 27, no, it's serious.
No, I have the stuff in front of me.
We have, for the
Red,
Woodbridge Country
yes,
Club
red.
thing, it says, consider open space use, and we're changing it to consider open space uses.
Of course, we talked about, I think you brought that up the last time, so yeah, I'm good with that. Because there are plenty of open space uses.
Right.
Okay,
Just want to make sure you're filled in.
thank you, so.
So is there a motion to accept the 2015 POCD?
So moved.
Is there a second?
As amended tonight. Right.
Pardon?
As amended tonight.
As amended tonight, yes.
Second.
Good. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Oh my gosh.
Could you also
Uh-oh.
adopt an effective date?
Mhm.
3-4 weeks out so that all of the edits can be done and documents can be prepared and available. So usually it's, anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks from the date of adoption.
So,
Maybe
let's
May
listen to
1.
another motion. We've got a motion.
Is
Is there a motion to,
Law Day, some so appropriate.
is Law Day? What day is Law Day?
May 1st?
May 1st also?
Yeah, May 1st.
May 1st?
Wanna make a motion?
Okay.
I thought that would be useful. Make that motion.
Fine, second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Well, I know you guys want to stay here and talk some more, but is there a motion to adjourn?
Well, I think we should thank the efforts of Mylone and McBroom in this process, as well as the members of this commission, particularly the chairman.
No, I think everyone did a great job.
Congratulations. It's,
There were a few hours spent.
the hill was steep.
It was a steep hill, wasn't it?
Good.
That is a good way to describe it.
Jeff, kudos to you for continuing to
Yeah,
push this along.
Oh, thank you. That's good. Well, it's important,
Yeah.
so I think everyone did a good job. And I've told Phil numerous times that I'm very pleased with. They were incredibly receptive to, unfortunately, taking every one of my phone calls.
Not everybody is that receptive.
That's true.
So what are
Really,
you
how many
gonna
times do I call you, you don't call me back?
What are you gonna do with your time?
I know.
We'll be back to one meeting.
We'll go back to one meeting.
So what happens as of May 1st?
That's when
Yes, it is
it
effective.
takes effect.
Okay, so that means it's posted, that means it's posted
They
on the
make the
website as
changes,
of then?
goes onto the website.
The
It's,
website.
Technically, as of tonight, this is all
Probably
public
print hard
document.
copies,
Okay.
I thought it was a
the
public
library,
document.
yeah.
It was.
Distribute them to town agencies, and has to go to the state, has to go to regional plan. And then it becomes official, your existing plan will stay in place until that midnight it switches over, and then this becomes a reference document.
Great.
And the only question, Phil, is when do we start working the 2025 document?
2023.
There were a lot of recommendations in here, so I think you'll still be busy.
Well, it's a continuation.
So having said that, in the new budget, there is money for a planner.
Part-time.
Part-time plan.
Right, well, that's all
We don't know
need.
that.
No, that's what.
That's all we need
yeah.
right now. That's all we asked for, that's all we really need right now. So that'll actually mean that, the things that we're recommending in here could move forward through zoning, and then the other, I'm hoping that the other thing that the planner does is revamp have someone being able to go through our zoning regulations, so we can do some clarifications and cleaning up. So, pleased about that. And I think it's okay to say, but that we'll be having a meeting in June, at our June meeting. The people from the Village Project are asking for an informal discussion with planning and zoning. So that's for the June meeting.
Oh, you mean the,
June 1st?
Is that what?
is that the existing group, or is it a
Yes.
new group?
Existing group.
Okay,
They want to have an informal discussion. So,
but this is,
It's not the
okay, it's
developer,
not
it's the
Toll,
owners.
because Toll came in for that at one time.
no, it's not.
Okay, it's the original,
Yes.
okay. That just,
It's the people that actually have the approvals.
fine, that's what I wanted to know.
Need a scorecard.
Yeah, well, it's true. Okay, excellent. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yeoman service, thank you.
Move that we adjourn. You asked for it, and I interrupted you.
And I heard this note, I always ask if there's a discussion about adjournment, I'm evidently not supposed to do that. So,
I'll second it.
So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Great.